Hi, this is Turtle Wave. We are a ragtag team of film artists. We have a YouTube channel. We make martial arts comedy films. Nice little shorts. They give you action and they give you laughs. And today we're going to introduce Joseph Lay
from
again,
sunny California,
where he's going to tell us about his experiences in Hollywood as he became a part of the Disney Marvel franchise and beyond.
Thank you for that wonderful intro. Please bear with us. It is now 2:28 a.m. It's pretty late at night, but I'm not here for a long time. Just visiting in the DMV for a few days. So
he's here for a good time, ladies and gentlemen.
I would like to know, Joseph, how it is that you went from making indie films with 4 people to making being a part of Shang-Chi's crew. And how did you get involved? Like from our indie days to now, what happened? Like, give us a process.
I think because of Pokemon Kung Fu.
We're done with that. Let's just move on.
For people who don't know, check out our episode on the reminiscence of.
The subject will come back later.
Episode 2?
But Pokemon Kung Fu, every project that we do with action comedy, martial arts content, we try to up our game, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
And I wanted to do the same for my projects at Team Red Pro. I made a commercial called Kung Fu Tea commercial. Got paid cheap we'll edit that out, but he
didn't make a whole lot of money for that.
I understand it was a small budget and they only wanted 30 seconds, but I created so much choreography, Turtle Wave style, that it ended up being a 2-minute video. Why not? We're just having so much fun. We're innovating in our own way, putting our own sauce into it.
Building.
Yeah, so I actually made Kung Fu Tea while Tim was doing post-production for Pokemon Kung Fu. I mean, it's a long answer to answer, like, how did I get Shang-Chi? But it was just a summation of these small projects of me trying something different each time. And I was really had my mind set on moving to LA in 2016 or 17. But then I had some family issues. My mom got breast cancer. And then I was like, wow. So the whole trajectory of my dreams have changed. Like, I need to be home with my family, be there for my mom, help her battle cancer. I was with her, every day and, changed like her diet, added some more exercise because I wanted to naturally defeat cancer. And luckily, like, we did. But it was like after like 1.5 years. But still, like, my mom told me, like, I want you to still achieve your dreams. Like, I don't want to hold you back. And so, like, every video project, even small ones, I would always try to go 100% in full send. And so, like, after my mom healed up, I really want to go all out on another, viral YouTube video, but without visual effects. Oh, sorry.
Of course.
Just like,
that's a smarter way to do it.
What Tim went through. I was like, oh, hell no. So then I made...
Work smarter. Not harder.
So early 2018, the performers I was trying to work with, they were gradually slipping into like the 9-to-5 stuff. So I was like, I can't force people in the DMV to do all these stunts when it's like not their full-time job. So I'm like, might as well collaborate with other people from out of state. So I started flying back and forth to LA and collaborating with people for free and just to be able to like learn. And I remember one of my first trips to LA was through like a Wong Fu competition.
Yeah, I remember. I think I submitted to that one too. In your
Wait,
video.
which one was this?
Huh?
Which one was that?
ISA TV. It was like a music video, but it wasn't a music video.
Was it the one with the you filmed Chicago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember
so I
that one.
also
That was a good project.
This is a fun and sad fact for myself, but I also submitted to that. I think I eventually learned that I placed second and Joseph won first.
Wait, really?
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
They emailed me back.
Not bad.
I don't know if I told you
I
this.
never knew
That's
this.
that turtle
told
wave
me-
energy. We get first and second.
Let's
Came in there, we
last.
probably had first, second, third, and fourth.
And then when you told me that, it's like, oh, I want it. I was like, cool.
Oh, actually, my bad. This is the wrong timeline.
Is it?
In 2017 or 18, I was working at a freaking Telltale Games in San Francisco. And then I bought a bus ticket to go to LA to visit. I visited from LBP Chicago Stunts.
Yeah.
And then he showed me like on his iPhone some like secret previs for Logan and a bunch of other films. And he's just giving me a crash course on the industry. I was like, holy crap, I want to do this one day. So fast forward to, there was a Shaolin Kung Fu training camp in China that was being hosted by Philip Sahagan, also co-hosted by Martial Club. And so I took that opportunity and went, and my good friend Cindy, who helped us out with Pokemon Kung Fu, was like, oh, dude, you should totally like collab with them. And I'm like, oh, I'm not good enough. And she's like, come on, you gotta do this. And then I remember I was at her house for New Year's, and then we're counting down to 3, 2, 1. And then I kind of wish like, okay, this year I will meet Martial Club and collaborate with them. And then the Kung Fu training camp happened. So I met them there. It was all pretty cool. And then after I came back home, Brian Lay, he sent me a video of him in a pink dress for some reason. And he was like, you'll
like a sailor uniform type thing.
Yeah. And he was like, you'll get to direct a Martial Club video if you include this. Haha. Kind of like a joke. And then I remember I drafted up 7 ideas and pitched it to them, and they liked like the last one. So I flew myself out there to shoot a music video for Alexia, meanwhile shooting something for Martial Club for free. So I was just like slowly building a network in LA, and just like built up a reputation there. People were always talking, and went back and brought some of my passion and stuff I learned from LA to the DMV. And then we made like Red Rising, you guys were involved. So expectations were coming up. And I just remember going to the Kung Fu camp in China and climbing up to the Dharma's cave, where supposedly like an Indian monk went to pray there and invented like Shaolin Kung Fu or something.
Right.
Yeah. And then I remember praying in there, and I like closed my eyes. I was like, I want to make a film that would have a strong impact on Kung Fu cinema. And just like walked out of there. And then from that point on, just went hard with Team Red projects. But also over the summer, after that training camp, I worked on the new Wonder Woman as an extra.
Word.
The 1984 one.
Oh, that's right. I remember
This was,
that. I was
think
trying
at this point,
I was trying to do it.
2018.
18, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it ran
yeah.
my because I went to
the
the
summer.
extras casting too. Didn't get in.
Oh, what?
I
Why
wanted
not?
to go. I wanted to go. but
I
was
think
busy.
they were either looking for people who had enough hair to look out of an 80s hairdo, which at that time you definitely did, Joseph.
Yeah.
My hair wasn't long enough. And I was like, if not that, I think they were looking for dudes who would shave their head for the military or something like that. I made it onto House of Cards instead, which is a different thing. As an extra, as a tech attendee. I forgot which episode, but I made sure I was in the camera.
You would look like a tech attendant too.
I
Yeah.
would.
But one pivotal moment happened on that set, because I remember I saw a local stunt man. You know, he's very talented, works in a lot of big movies. I'm not going to say his name, but I saw him on set, and he walked past me. And then like we made eye contact, and I waved to him while, you know, I was in extra clothing. But he just damn straight up like ignored me. And then he just walked past me. And then I just remember in my head saying like, one day I'm going to be in a big superhero movie and you're going to get jealous. One day.
So it's vendetta. It's a vengeance thing.
And I
This
remember
is the Vendetta Act.
I remember this stuntman made me cry during like a test fight, because I was shooting choreography at some place, and then the other stunt performer, and I was trying to like call the shots and be like, let's shoot from this angle. How about we do this beat? And the guy was just giving me a hard time and being like, you don't know how to stack. You don't know how to do this. So like I always had that ambition to prove this guy who works in Hollywood wrong. And so fast forward, you know, I got really close to Martial Club. I started flying back and forth, you know, me staying over at their place. I was kind of like their main DP or go-to guy. And then later on, they're like, Joseph, we're not supposed to tell you, but we're actually training for Shang-Chi right now. I was like, oh my gosh. And then they're like, we're going to try to put your name in. I was like, oh, thanks, man. And then Brad Allan, who's like the Jackie Chan stunt team veteran, who's also the second unit director of that movie, he was asking around like, who can shoot kung fu in anime style? And then they're like, oh, Joseph Lee. And he was like, who? I don't know who that is. Brad Allan was like, I'm thinking about having Chris Cowan shoot the fight scenes. Just every instance when they're training Simu and Brad Allan would show up, they would just plug in my name. So I'm really grateful for them. And then there's this one time when Martial Club was like, just send us 3 things, and then we'll send it to him. So I sent him Pokemon Kung Fu, Turtle Wave, Kung Fu Tea commercial to channel the Jackie Chan style action, and then also Afro Samurai shampoo, you know.
which I think you were just kind of fresh off of.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So I
crazy.
just finished that project. But then actually I didn't hear anything for a month. And I really wanted to give up. I was super burnt out from Afro Samurai. You know, it was such a big project and I was having a full-time job at the time. You know, some people in the crew developed some drama and it was just such a
Very down time.
yeah, straining experience. And actually I felt like what Tim felt kind of like after Pokemon Kung Fu. I was like, is this really worth it? And I see some of my peers like scaling up in the Hollywood industry while I'm here in like DC working at an office. And at the time, I was also chasing someone. And then, you know, it wasn't reciprocated. So just like my personal life, my so-called film career was down. I was just like, all right, I'm just going to watch everyone rise to the top. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make myself happy again. I'm just going to draw, going back to my root. And then just someone at my full-time job, we're working at an ad agency, Liz, she told me like, Joe, don't give up. You work at an advertising agency. You should advertise yourself as the action guy. So I was like, fine, one Hail Mary. So I posted on Instagram how to shoot action for live action anime, just showing people my process. And then I just like called up Martial Club like, dude, can I please get Brad Allan's email address? And they're like, I don't think we're allowed to, but screw it. We'll be more confident with you on set. And then I was like, okay.
Oh.
That is dope.
They gave me his iCloud. And then it just like, I crafted this like immaculate email. Like Liz was helping me breaking down my process. I attached a photo of me. Like I bought all the Shang-Chi books from all the local comic book stores in the DMV area, literally DC, Maryland, Virginia. And then I put a camera on top of that picture or the stack of comic books. And I put in the captions, I'm ready. And I just like told Brad Allan, like what you've done with Scott Pilgrim, like me and my friends try to mimic that style. And then what you're trying to do, like bringing Hong Kong cinema action with the Hollywood action, you know, taking it to the next level. I want to help you. So I sent him the email and then he replied to me that same night saying, Joseph, how can I not, you know, hire you? Are you DGA? Are you this? Like, are you union? I had an email tracker on and it showed that he clicked on the message over 20 times and forwarded it. I'm like, okay, sweet. My stuff is getting around. Pokemon Kung Fu just got 5 more views. Let's go. So like, got the phone call with the stunt coordinator, Mark Ginther. Said like, are you based in LA? I'm like, yes, sir. But I was calling from my DC office, just like freaking out. Just like I told my boss at my full-time job, like, I need to take a break. This is a lifetime opportunity. And then they were like, yeah, as long as you come back, yeah, you'll always be family here. Yeah, so then sorry, I've been talking a lot.
No, you're supposed to. We're in it. We're in it.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So
I can put in ad libs here and there if you want.
Yeah, sure. I would appreciate it. So they flew me out, but then I asked them on the phone, like, what do you need from me? Like, do I need to prepare something or should I bring my camera? And they're like, we just want to see what you will bring to the table.
Damn.
And I'm like, what the what?
Yeah.
So like I started reading all the Shang-Chi comics, revisiting Jackie Chan like fight scenes or like thinking about anime fight scenes. So I flew over to LA, you know, Martial Club. They're really excited to have me. They were like, yo, welcome to the Shang-Chi team. Stayed over at their place.
Crazy.
And then Marvel, they gave us like an Airbnb near the studio. So we stayed over there. And then
That's really nice of them.
Yeah, I
I
just
guess it cuts
remember
the commute down a lot, right?
Yeah, and I asked Martial Club, what's the fight scene about? And they're like, oh, it's in a bus. I'm like, oh shit. A fight scene in like a moving object? That emulates one of my most favorite fight scenes, which is Spider-Man 2 on the train.
Right.
So actually the night before, I storyboarded a bunch of concepts of Shang-Chi fighting in a bus. So I would have it ready on my phone just in case. So anyways, like we drove to the Disney lot, you know, went to the warehouse. I was like super nervous. We were parking our car and then Martial Club walked up to this one guy, this Asian guy with like sunglasses and then a white guy with sunglasses. And I knew immediately that white guy was Brad Allan.
Right.
And then actually the Asian guy was Andy Cheng, who's Jackie Chan's main stunt double. And then Marshall Cole was like, yo, look, this is the guy we're talking about. This is Joseph. And then Andy Cheng was like, who is he? Is he the one? And then Brad Allan was like, yes, he is the one. And I was like, no, guys, Jet Li is the one. And then nobody laughed.
It's
It's a Jackie Chan film. You can't talk
Yeah,
about Jet
I'm
Li,
sorry.
man.
So then, like, I was really nervous. And
I
then
appreciate it.
Andy Cheng, like, walked up to me. And then he, like, held my hand. We were holding hands while walking up to the entrance of the warehouse where we're going to previs. And I was, like, really thankful for that because he must have known, like, how nervous I was. And then he was like, you have something to show me? I was like, yeah. And I whipped up my laptop. I was holding hands with him and I was like trying to share with him Afro Samurai Champloo. And he's like, oh, it's the ninja fight. Yeah, I remember. I walked in and I saw all the great LA indie fight people like Brian Sloyer, Jay Kwan, Jerry Quill, Shy, and then Chris Cowan, whom we actually met at MagFest.
Yeah.
I think prior to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right after we made Pokemon Kung Fu.
That's true.
Right. We had just finished that because we were kind of low key competing with them.
It's like trying to compete. It's like
Right,
Yamcha versus like Frieza level of
But
skill.
but if you think about the amount of time that we put in, right, and the amount of time they must have put in for theirs, like they had a longer video, they had a lot more intricate choreography, they had effects and everything like that. We were just like, yo, it's just me and you for an afternoon, and then we came out with that and went viral, and they had a whole squad, like, you know what I mean, they had 20 people working on it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about return on investment, sure, but I wouldn't say competing.
I mean, but we looked at them as like they set
we're
the
all on
bar.
the same wave.
Right, we're on the same wave. Like they set the bar, and we were trying to reach that, and be like, yo, we have to be like that. You know what I mean? It definitely helped inspire us as a group.
Yeah, for sure. So it was like really intimidating seeing these people with, I felt like I was the Yamcha of the group, and they're like the Super Saiyan gods. And then like we were all like lining up. They're like, okay, who's the Shang-Chi's double? Chris Cowan was like looking at everyone, and he was like, Jay Kwan. And then immediately I saw like Andy just like, oh man, I wasn't chosen. Because I think he was promised to be the Shang-Chi double in the previs for the bus fight. But anyways, like, so Martial Club and I we were kind of like coming from the outside from a different angle. We just went inside the bus. Everyone was sitting down. And immediately Andy Cheng was going through the bus and be like, maybe, okay, a guy coming in and then he comes here and he fights him off. And then maybe two guys come behind me and then bah, bah, bah. He was just like freestyling Hong Kong like style, like fight choreography, like no time to waste. Like, whoa, this is our introduction. And I just remember like, wow, this is like me watching the DVD extras of Rush Hour, but
Nice.
in person.
Right.
And then like his...
Because he was shown prominently in the Rush Hour 1 BTS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
which
I
is
was
cool.
Like, wow, I'm like literally 3 feet next to this guy.
Yeah.
And then like I was like, okay, so what's my role? Just everyone in the bus was like, there were stunt performers actively doing stuff while I was like sitting on the sidelines at the table outside of the bus, just watching everyone have a fun time. I was like, man, like, why am I even here? All these guys are the gods and I'm the Yamcha.
Doubt.
Yeah, and then I was just like sitting next to Brad and just like really nervous. So I just like pulled out my laptop and my drawing tablet with the already made bus fight storyboards I had. And then they're like, whoa, you can draw? I was like, yeah, I can. And then so
just a little bit.
I'm a bit of a artist myself.
Yeah. And then I was just like drawing my ass off next to Brad Allan, like all these different concepts. And then so we broke for lunch. We had poke. That's the thing I was trying to talk about.
Right, poke.
And then Martial Club was like, yo, you should sit next to Brad Allan. And then I was like, why? And then they're like, come on, just do it. Make a good impression. Brad was like, you know what was the most impressive example you showed me? Pokemon Kung Fu.
Yeah, boy.
Let's go.
Yeah, boy.
That makes me very happy.
And then
let's
go.
And then DY, he was sitting next to me. He was like, yeah, Joseph's a very talented artist and he can shoot, choreograph, and do all this. And then because in Hollywood, you can show someone your stuff like at first, but I think they'll easily forget it because all the talent lined up. So you have to keep reminding people what you do. It's like a whole branding thing. But there's another fight coordinator, Peng Zhang. He He designs a lot of like wuxia like type of fight styles in China, and he was like, "Oh, Joseph, you know how to do storyboards, huh?" He's like, "Okay, I think I have something for you." I said, "Yes, finally something to do." So while they were doing the bus fight after lunch, I was drawing up concepts for the first mother and father fight. And then they said like,
Ooh.
we want the mom to kind of do avatar bending, but we don't want to copy avatar bending. So what would that look like? You know, so I had to develop like key moments of the fight choreography. And then I remember I had some extra time and I messaged the Turtle Wave chat. I was like, Tim, how do I do like the leaves thing or like water effects or something?
I did not remember that.
Damn.
remember I was like, you asked me something like, do you want to do some effects for it?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, if you can get me there. But
because they
but
were
I had jobs. I had work to do.
Because they were also like crewing up. And I was trying to get like Omar Zaki in because they were trying to find some parkour people. Yeah. So I just wanted to share some love. But yeah, I was still storyboarding. And then after those storyboards, I was pitching to Third Floor Inc. for a previs. And just like after the first week, Chris Cowan had to hop onto the mother and father fight. For the second week, they were like, all right, who's going to shoot the bus fight? And so they all looked at me and they're like, Joe, you ready? I'm like, yeah, I've been ready. I have my camera here and everything.
That's why I'm here in this state.
So like it was like on a Friday and then we went into the weekend and just like everyone kind of like went home, did their own thing. You know, Martial Club went back to home and tricked. But I stayed in the Airbnb while like Andy Cheng sent me like tons of voice messages, like trying to like figure out what should we do for the bus fight. And so I just remember, you know, old school, just whipping out my photo booth on my laptop and just choreographing by myself and seeing what shapes I would like to see Shang-Chi do. Working out the whole weekend because they couldn't bring everyone to Australia. They had a budget, which is why they had a lot of Chinese people in the stunt team. You know, American stunt people are very expensive. So like I knew this 2-week period was like tryouts, and I knew I needed to do it my best because this is a really rare opportunity for a YouTuber, and it would be just sad if I just relaxed
and then
you know?
let it go.
Yeah. So I played a lot of Eminem, Lose Yourself. This was it. Monday, Tuesday, I was shooting the bus fight, and I remember like people were like, wow, he's very nervous. And so they were just trying to like calm me down. There's another stunt performer who was like, Joseph, you should shoot this scene, you know, basic storytelling. You should know this. I'm like, wow. Like, there are some low-key, like, bullies, you know. In the intro to one of the stunt performers, he, like, took his weapon and just, like, almost hit me in the eye. I was like, whoa.
This is how you get stabbed. I've been there before.
I was like, wow, yeah, you're pretty fast. He's like, yeah, you should maybe learn from me. I was like, yeah.
That's not what I'm here for, but okay, bro.
It's like an Indiana Jones, and then
that
move on.
Yeah, that same stunt performer, when I was shooting, like in between takes, he was like, Joe, you should do this and that. And then I remember Andy Cheng going like, no, let him do camera and you just perform. I was like, damn right. Yeah. And then we had Lao Sifu, one of the Shaw Brothers guys, brother of Lau Kar.
Long?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Come in as like a kung fu consultant. And then, yeah, so it's just like extra pressure, him being there.
Oh, my God.
You know, Martial Club, Brad Allan, just everyone. But just did my best. And long story short, I made the cut and they flew me out to Australia to work on the rest of the movie in pre-production. Sorry.
That's awesome.
Oh, wow.
Need some water.
You can't see this, but Joseph's getting a little
parched,
a little teary-eyed as he's
revisiting
revisiting this.
Wait, I'm parched.
Yeah, he's parched, but I can see the. I can see you getting emotional, and this is great. This is great.
Yeah, but honestly, like before I flew back to Australia, I had to call up everyone who like helped me out on my journey, like you guys, OG Team Red, Leroy, just for helping me with all these shoots. If I had any doubts of my film career, like that was thrown to the wayside because this means like it's real, you know, and I need to just look forward and go all in. But at the same time, I went to Shang-Chi just kind of like by myself. I was like the only American guy there for a while, for like the first couple of weeks, the only action designer, and most of the team was Chinese. I was like, man, I wish Tim was like here so that he can translate for me and do these
They
weird.
probably
I brought this
spoke-
up before.
They probably spoke a different dialect from me, and I would have been
They probably
just as
Kanto.
useless as anyone else would.
Yeah,
have
but it
I
was a
speak
lot of
Cantonese, right?
no, it's Mandarin.
It's
Oh,
it
really?
could it could
Okay.
be a different dialect. There's a lot of them. They're like I can barely understand Beijing dialect. It's very harsh. So
Yeah, they were all mostly like from that I
Northern
think.
China.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
Sort
so.
of,
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
I mean, like
Yeah.
if I went in there and just spoke Mandarin to them, they'd be like, "What the hell's wrong with
Yeah.
this guy?
Hey,
He
better
doesn't
than
speak, He doesn't
me.
speak Shandonghua, whatever they're speaking.
Yeah, yeah.
Guangdonghua.
Guangdonghua, Shandonghua, whatever.
Yeah.
Guangdonghua is actually Cantonese.
Yeah, I know.
It'd be better than him being by himself, though. You know.
Yeah.
You know.
But it's crazy. Like I wanted to represent everybody. You know. I'm not just doing this for myself. I wanted to prove like you can come from any background, any backyard, any basement, any skill set. I don't even know how to do a backflip. I don't even know how to animate a Charizard. But you know what? I made it. Shang-Chi, and just also though I had a little imposter syndrome.
Oh yeah.
Because
oh, yeah.
PK wasn't there.
Huh.
And Alex wasn't there to be like, oh, come on, it's not that bad. But like, I remember going to the Australian Sydney hotel, and there was like a gift bag for me, and I saw like an iPhone where I was supposed to use for production, and then just like a bunch of stuff like welcome to Marvel, and
Like
then
a gift bag.
yeah,
Oh,
and
man.
then also they gave me a car to use for the whole
Time
3
that you
months. Yeah,
Wow.
but like honestly, like that was really nervous because driving on the opposite side of the road,
I forgot.
so
Former British Empire things.
I was
you want
like,
to have an accident and then be like,
yeah. Actually, I'll come back to that later
Oh.
in the production.
oh.
But anyways, like first day, we didn't have to go to the studio at first. We had to go to the beach, and I was like, why? Because we're gonna train with Simu, the whole stunt team, and Shang-Chi. So like Andy Cheng, he gave me a ride, and he was like, this is what you have to do on the opposite side of the road. And we had some coffee. So throughout the coffee, he was trying to get to know me. And then like Simu Liu, he came up with his sunglasses and his personal trainer. And then we're like, okay,
Nice.
let's do the stunt team workout. And then I met Xiao Wei, who is the kid from Karate Kid, the
Nice.
bully,
Nice.
all grown up.
I guess that took you a moment to process. Like, whoa.
Yeah,
this
with
is-
his like 10-pack, just like
All this is
physical specimen. Like him and
Yeah.
Simu were like tip-top shape. I'm like, all right, this is going to be great. Like they're going to move really well. And just Simu was also like beating us in the exercise workouts.
Oh wow.
But also like, these stunt performers had to work on the same day, so they probably didn't want to get injured during the beach training. But I was also doing the beach training, and it was just like a really great way to get to know everyone by suffering together.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so we went into the studio. I was pre-visiting how the Mandarin or the father gets the 10 rings. This wasn't in the movie, so this is exclusive BTS here that you won't get in Disney Plus. But apparently,
Only on Turtle Wave podcast.
apparently it was kind of like Indiana Jones, where this guy was sneaking into like a temple or something, and then he would like get the 10 rings, or the 10 rings was like calling to him or something. I don't know. And then he would like gradually know this true power of the 10 rings by beating up people, and then it would just like be a time jump like montage of him defeating empires, civilizations with his like 10 rings. So I was supposed to like previous that montage was Peng Zhang.
I would have really wanted to see that, TBH.
Oh yeah.
I really wanted to see that. So I'm just really glad that you explained this to me because it helps put the rest of the story in
Yeah,
context.
and it was actually a homage to wuxia, like cinematic history, and it had the hero shot with like all the arrows coming in to him.
Bruh. you
Oh
killing
wow!
me.
Oh
You
my
killing
god!
me.
Yeah, I I'm like piecing the two together.
Like,
Hero is
this
one of my
would have been super great.
But they cut to the good stuff, which is the mother and father fight.
which is
That was-
definitely one of
that
my
was
favorite
amazing.
sequences.
Yeah,
It's,
so
it's so beautiful.
and I think doing the Mandarin montage first was also trying to establish the tone or like the fighting style and how we should capture the action through the camera. So it was a
Ah.
good test for everyone.
yeah,
And also at the same time, Brad Allan was looking at some storyboards with cars with like weapons on the side of them. And he was like, we had to invent car fu. I was like, what the freak? Like Fast and Furious and an Ip Man. I don't know.
Right?
But it was
You
like
heard it from here first.
it was a crazy concept. They're trying to like really innovate. So
Yeah.
Like swords out the window?
yeah,
Or-
but then they actually just had like people in the cars like with the weapons. I don't know. I was shocked and I was like, I don't even know how to do car action. But I remember storyboarding a bunch of cars. There's one point when I had to trace like 3D models, and then the co-stunt coordinator walked by and was like, "Joseph, you trace?" I was like, "Yeah, it's hard, like geometry." He's like, "Well, you just lost a couple points in my book, but you're still good." But I was like, "Oh,
Who said this?
The co-stunt coordinator, Mark Gint. Out of jest.
Yeah.
But just
Sometimes
like
you gotta trace, man.
the first week though was really intense. I was sweating a lot more than the performers, but they were trying to calm me down. They're trying to learn English. I was trying to learn Chinese, and they were like saying like Joseph, right? And I was like, yeah, that's my name. They're like, no, Joe Shifu. Joe Shifu. And I was like, no, don't call me Shifu.
It kind of rolls off the tongue. Going on,
does.
with the
Yeah.
S.
Joshifu.
Joshifu.
Yeah, and I was just like telling the Karate Kid guy like, hey, can you do this for the camera? And he's like, okay, yeah. And I'm like, wow. It's just crazy, like all the trust that we had. But
Yeah.
a lot of the moments, a lot of the shots, I channeled from old Turtle Wave videos, but with the resources of Marvel, with the wires and just like the acrobatic abilities. You know, everything was coming together, and I kind of already filmed all of these moments, but in different short films. Yeah, and just like after week 1, Young Lee, Gak Attack came in and then just gave me a crash course on the industry. And he was like, you gotta learn how to play the game. You're good, but it means nothing if you don't know how to play the game. Now 2 years later, I finally know what he means, but we'll talk about that later. And then we're trying to do like the one type of action with Jet Li. Just like, because the Mandarin would move faster than everyone around him.
Than normal people.
Yeah, but we didn't know what the color of the powers or weapons would be. Like the rings were supposed to be like green, blue, purple, and just like all different types. Red, just like
Like
we
the
didn't even
Infinity
know.
Gems?
Yeah, but then like,
He just named all the colors.
but then
in that.
Marvel was like no, that will be too much like Doctor Strange. No, it can't be like this. There were so many like different rules. So
Like you had to step over a lot of broken glass.
Yeah.
In this case, pieces.
yeah, and then the next week, Chris Cowan came, the big guns, like, I don't know, just like every time he made something, every time he shot something, everyone would crowd around his laptop and be like, whoa, oh my God, wow, and just clap, just like clap. Or, you know, I would show my previs and people were like, oh, it's good, yeah, it's good. And I just remember like we would hire local talent from Australia. Each stuntman would come in, Chris Cowan, big fan, and big fan to you too. Yeah. And then they would come in next week and be like, Team Red, right? And I'm like, yeah, you didn't know me at first, did you? But
Yeah, they did their research.
I mean, to be fair, Chris Cowan at this point, like I think he's
big
worked on
deal.
other
Yeah.
big movies, but he also had like an indie-ish
Yeah,
start too. But he started way earlier.
His UA LA came out right after Afro Samurai Champloo. So at the previous area with the talent, they were like, UA LA, so good. Afro Samurai is good too. So it's like that contrast.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
sitting next to Chris Cowan, but he was very friendly and welcoming, always, you know, open to sharing his ideas and techniques. So, you know, after Shang-Chi, I emulated a lot of his style. So like a lot of people say like I'm copying him, but no, it's like I had to learn under him basically.
Right.
I like to think of it as like, you know, if you're hanging out with, in this case, because you are hanging out with this individual and other people working on this, it's like you're gonna be in a way part of it. You're gonna absorb what their characteristics and vice versa.
Exactly.
So
Learn
I like to
from the
think of it
best.
that way. Yeah.
Like I said, we were trying to be like them anyway. So
1,000
seeing you be
pounds.
there next to
Yeah.
him and working with him in
That's pretty
Australia,
cool.
that's amazing.
Just sitting next to him and sitting next to Young Lee and then Vidan from Jackie Chan's stunt team. He also worked on Into the Badlands. Like these were guys I was looking up to, and I felt like I had to catch up to them.
Yeah, Vidon has also had like an indie background too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I remember
so-
he's seeing his stuff
Yeah.
back in the day, and I was like, oh, it's really cool. It's like this is a face I've seen before.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember we had coffee all together before we went to the studio. And then we're like, we are the next generation. we will open the doors, and we were so excited, and just it didn't matter how the movie would turn out. the relationship we had, the friendship we had,
Friends you made along the way.
yeah, the friendly competition we had, because like, you know, we would show previews and try to get the most reaction.
Hey, so when you hanging out with them next? Because I'm gonna need to swing by.
I mean, Chris
Go to
Cowan
LA,
is
man.
Chris Cowan is like stratosphere now, like hanging out with the best of the best, and he's already established himself and done the work. I still need to do the work, in my opinion.
You'll get there.
Yeah, all of us are doing like different things now. Yeah, Young Lee is writing a feature film. He's just doing all the grueling work that you don't really see, which is like writing, and it's the hardest work. So I really respect him for doing that. Chris Cowan's second unit directing a really big Disney property. I'm not supposed to say it, but Alex would like it a lot. You know what he likes.
Oh wait,
We'll leave it there. We'll leave it there. We'll leave it there.
What's
We'll
the
leave
next
it there.
biggest one? Is it coming out in like next?
The moment's
You have me
passed.
excited.
The
You
moment's
have my
passed.
attention.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And then Vidan, he just came out of like Dune 2. You know, one of the biggest movies gonna come out ever.
I can't wait to see that because Dune 1 was amazing.
And then just, yeah, we're all on our different journeys, but we like to keep up with each other. But yeah, going back to Shang-Chi, just like, what else? So after the Mandarin montage, I worked on the bus fight again. But honestly, the bus fight was like one of the most annoying fights to previs because it was Shang-Chi's first entrance, his first fight scene
First
ever.
action scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
The hardest part.
Yeah, and with that scene, we had to really establish the tone of like Marvel comedy with the fighting style, you know?
The kung fu style you wanted for him.
Yeah, so we had like over 40 versions of the bus fight. Like Chris Cowan did the first week, I did the second week. When we went to Sydney, Vidan started doing it. And then I started coming back to it. And then Chris Cowan filmed the opening with like the 1-inch punch thing.
Nice.
Yeah. And so it's just a lot of layers. While Chris is filming the intro, I'm storyboarding what happens to Shang-Chi outside of the bus. And then Vidan is also setting up a wire rig with Mark Ginther of the camera moving at high speed inside of the bus to capture Simu doing parkour stuff. And Young Lee, on top of that, is stringing everything together and adding the VFX of the Razor Fist. And also designing the action in GTA movie mode. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, a lot of people I think make essentially machinima type videos out of those
Yeah.
camera modes. And GTA is a big platform for that.
Yeah. And then also the bus fight, I filmed a section of the bus fight that happens at the end. And then they put it in the beginning with the split kick. Because just everyone wowed at the split kick. But I thought it was so basic. But
That's interesting, huh?
every Friday, the whole action design team with Brad Allan, the fight coordinators, would meet up with the Disney producers and the director, Destin Cretton. And just we would watch the previses together and in real time just like give feedback and make changes. So we actually came back to like kind of like a writer's room at the end of each week and just getting their feedback, watching Street Fighter video game clips with one of the producers. There's one point when we wanted Shang-Chi to do a Destructo disc attack with the rings.
the rings?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the rings would like cycle.
Right.
And then like everyone was like geeking out, but then the director would be like, wait. Let's hold up a second. Because all of the action designers wanted Shang-Chi to be the most OP Avenger
Right.
ever. Like we wanted Shang-Chi to easily beat, you know, Thor and the Hulk, but you know, that's, you know, maybe one day, but not the first movie. Yeah,
Gotta let them climb up a little bit.
yeah, but it was a constant battle of imposter syndrome and just trying to pitch things to the internal team and getting them approved by the producers. And just like on the weekends, Vidan and I would go to the gym and work out together. He taught me like basic boxing, and also we came up with like choreo by looking at wushu forms like nanchuan and stuff like that, and we would like pitch it to Andy Cheng. Always working. Like I felt like I didn't go out and experience the city life in Sydney because it was like this is my chance to impress Brad Allan, Marvel, get my foot in the door. But like I saw Chris Cowan, man, he was so relaxed and he's just so chill and came up with the best ideas. And so I had to learn how to balance like being relaxed while being focused. So that's a big learning lesson.
That's awesome.
Wow. Joseph, so I've been listening to this, like, it feels like I'm there.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Really?
It's like, because, you know,
I felt like I'm right next to
we
you.
we are all like
always
doing
right in my
in
heart.
spirit. But it's like it's because like we're all like it's the imposter syndrome is one of those things that we all face. But like based on what you're saying, it seems like a lot of the stuff that they do in professional Hollywood is same stuff that we've been doing at like
There's
at
still,
indie.
it's very chaotic.
It's still like it's like everything you said. Like we've done this.
Yeah.
We've done almost everything. I guess so. My personal question to you is like, when did you decide to for lack of a better word, like YOLO into this filming thing? Because I remember you had a full-time job before, and you had other stuff that you wanted to do before you wanted to go into this action design thing. So what was your like moment? It's like this is me now. I'm gonna do this forever.
Man, I think after I went to the Dharma cave in the Shaolin temple, we're always trying to mimic kung fu on film and stuff, but just going to the Shaolin temple and seeing the root of it all, like the origins, I wanted to somehow embody that and take it to the next level, not by myself, with the next generation, with martial club and whatnot. So going to the Shaolin temple was that YOLO moment. Also kind of getting heartbroken at the same time. Also seeing that stuntman ignore me on a superhero set and me being like, one day I'll be on a superhero movie. And then years later, he got jealous that he wasn't included.
Oh, so you got your you got your vengeance.
Yeah. I wanted to tell him, but I let it go. That hate.
Did you have a backup plan for like if it didn't work out?
Shang-Chi?
Just overall. Like this is actually just me asking because I've always wondered this about people who really like wanted to like 100% YOLO in something. Like, did you have any idea like what if it didn't work out? Like, it's like, oh, I guess I'll just go back and design graphics or whatever. Like, did you have anything like that?
Or did you I did have a backup plan because when I left the company I was working for, they told me like you can come back if the Hollywood thing doesn't work out.
So you did have a backup plan.
Yeah, I mean, Shang-Chi was a great experience. Hang out with Simu and the gang. Like the action designers were kind of like his entourage every weekend. And we would like hit up Chinatown together and we went to his apartment, played Smash, and
nice.
My DK gave Simu a hard time. I'm gonna say that.
Simu's a Smash player too.
Pause.
Huh?
Does Simu play Smash?
Yeah, he mains Pikachu.
Oh.
Pikachu stuff. I was like, I'll show you Pikachu stuff.
Right. It's meant to be.
Yeah, but I remember like I was like comboing him, and then I didn't even look at the game screen. I was like looking at him pressing buttons. But then I was like
big energy.
I was like, man, he's having a hard time. He has to act like a kung fu master. He has to learn all this choreography. I'll let him have some wins, Yeah, I don't care. I can tell the story, Yeah. He can see me if he wants a rematch.
Oh, snap.
Sorry, PK's here and the BDE is quite contagious. But anyways, I celebrated my 30th birthday on Shang-Chi. And honestly, like, when I turned 29, I was like, man, I'm never going to make it. I'm already 29. Like, I have 1 year left. I'm still doing YouTube stuff. I'm still doing small stuff. I remember in the DMV, I know people were, like, talking about me behind my back and being like, oh, you're going to a Joseph shoot? Have fun. Because they know that I'm always a pusher, always trying to get this level of quality with a bunch of volunteers. How is this possible?
Perfectionist.
Yeah, but I just, we're on set, so might as well go all out, But I learned like I have to have expectations. Anyways, fast forward, end of Shang-Chi, Brad Allan had a whiteboard of like fights we need to finish. We couldn't finish all the fights in time, and so we need a previs during production, during shooting. So I saw Chris Kahn's name, Young Lee's name on this fight and this fight, Vidan's name, but I didn't see my name at all. Like my name wasn't on the whiteboard, and just like everyone was going to the office one by one, like, yeah, what's your schedule like this year? Okay, you're gonna get paid this and that. I would ask the action designers like, did they mention me? Did they mention me? And they're like, oh man, sorry, fudge, I didn't even make the cut. I am Yamcha. But, it's hard because actually when I went to Australia, my role was called Stunt Viz Editor. But I was shooting, adding to the choreography, doing VFX, editing, sound designing, more VFX. And so I went up to Brad and I was like, hey Brad, can you change my name or like my role title to like stunt viz editor and storyboard artist? I was selling myself short. Brad Allan was like, no, how about I have you as action designer, because I might have you on the floor shooting. I was like, thank you. Thank you, Brad Ge. And Ge means brother, Chinese.
Yeah.
So like I'm even grateful to be even one of the 4 action designers in Shang-Chi. And so I left, gave everyone a card. But everyone after that was like, yo, you gotta move to LA. That's where we're all at. And they say, you're the average of the people you hang out with. But if the people you hang out with have a similar goal, you guys are multipliers of that goal, not just averaging.
Wow.
Yeah, I was just like, that's right. And then like Chris Cowan, Young Lee, Vinan, we're all independent filmmakers, but at the end, man, we're all kind of like, really burned out. Every previs we made had to have a lot of red tape and approval. And then we're like, one day we're going to be leading our own ship and making films and applying independent filmmaking, that spirit, into the big leagues. I think that's what Chris Cowan's doing right now. And someday I will do that. So Shang-Chi ended, but at the same time, when I came back to Virginia, they were like, Martial Club called me and was like, yo, what are you doing near New Year's? Like, we got a new project called Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I just remember on the plane to go back to the DMV, I read it. I was bawling. And actually, this hits harder than, a lot of other movies.
Right.
Like the Asian American family spirit is here. It's so crazy and batshit crazy, but grounded. So I went over to Martial Club's place, and then we previs for 4 days. We had over 80 shots to do the extended version of the final fight with the butt plugs and whatnot. I was like,
Wild.
yeah, I was like a little nervous because I was like, this is good representation, but also we're trying to shove things up our ass.
Right.
So,
Well.
but obviously the movie is a success. It's very unique. Shang-Chi, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Life was great. It was awesome. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm an independent filmmaker, and I just wanted to bring what I learned to the community. So that's why we made Mulan and East Side Story. Like in the hotel in Shang-Chi, Vidan, we watched Afro Samurai Champloo together, but every shot he would pause and be like, why'd you do that? Next shot. Color grading is off here. Why is it cool and warm? Why'd you do that shot? It has had the motivation. Why should I root for this character? I don't know, but we only know because it's from Mugen. And then so I try to apply all those lessons learned, cinematography first, because Vidan's a camera nerd.
That's crazy. That's Brad Allan who's doing it?
No, Vidan.
Yeah, Vidan.
Yeah,
Okay,
the German Jack Chan stunt team. And then, so I applied all those lessons in Mulan. And then at the same time they were filming Mulan, they were also filming Shang-Chi. So it was my way to be like, I'll show everyone. Like, I felt a little salty because I was hearing stories about Shang-Chi and how production's going really well. And I'm like, not even there to see the previouses come to life.
Right.
But instead of being salty and butthurt, I'm like, I'm just going to go back to what I love. And I use some of the Shang-Chi budget or my earnings from that I spent all of it on the production of Mulan,
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I knew he spent. He told me. I think you joked to me. He's like, yeah, I used some Marvel money on this.
Yeah, I was just like, it's an
didn't-
investment.
So you had already done that stuff.
Yeah.
What year is this?
This is by 2019 turning into 2020, right?
Yeah, early 2020.
2020 when they shot Mulan, because I think they wrapped right before
the pandemic.
The pandemic.
Yeah,
That's
and then like
why.
in Mulan,
So-
I just want to emulate the Marvel process of the weekly meetings with the producers and the previs, and it's very organic. Like making a Marvel movie is like making a indie film because like they're just iterating and iterating. They're writing as they're shooting, and so on and so on. So I really like that organic process, and it felt right. Like I knew exactly what was going on each step of the way. Everyone was contributing to the dancing, the fighting. And then just like when it was done, I sent it to Brad Allan and he said, oh, it's a fantastic film. Like, thank you for sharing. And then he said, like, he asked about the process. And after that, on Instagram, Donnie Yen followed me.
Right.
And then, because like Martial Club reposted the Mulan clip of Leroy fighting.
Nice.
And then Donnie Yen, he literally like messaged me. He was like, Joseph, my company is looking for some young talents like yourself. Do you have any good, interesting idea? And then I immediately had to like pitch to him like 3 ideas. You know, no reply or whatever. And then I finished the Donnie Yen lightsaber fight and then sent it to him. And then he was like, wow, very good. Just wish it was a bit longer. I was like, oh, dang it. But yeah, it was crazy just like in a year just being in contact with legends like Brad Allan, Andy Cheng, Donnie Yen.
You had Donnie Yen speak to you directly about your work. That's crazy.
Yeah, and then he was like, how do you make your own films? And then I just told him like, or he was like, how do you find equipment? I'm like, why is he asking me? And I told him like, oh, I have friends who work in video production companies and we managed to get the equipment for free. And then he said, you must be very passionate to use your own money for your own films. Sorry, that's my impression. But just
Yeah,
like,
add a little bit of Bostonian English in there or whatever.
yeah, Alex knows. But just like we finished Mulan and then I was just ready to go back to LA. Like, let's continue this train. Donnie Yen, Sleeping Dogs, let's go. I don't know. And then the pandemic hit. So it was just like,
I know,
what
you're-
the fuck?
You're like high octane, like full speed ahead, and then that
Pandemic messed up
And just like-
everybody's money and
And like
opportunities.
everyone in the DMV was like hyped to make another one after Mulan. I learned my lessons and just like, bam, like,
full stop.
are we gonna even have filmmaking anymore? Like, is this virus gonna be permanent?
Right.
And so I was just back to square one, just while like the rest of the Shang-Chi crew was in Australia shooting throughout the pandemic, like Chris Cowan and Young Lee and such. I was just like, I'm back in Virginia now, going back to my backup plan. So I started freelancing motion graphics, designs, illustration, back to where I was.
Normality.
Yeah, and I guess I'll end my Shang-Chi journey there.
Really? I'm still sitting here like,
Wait, really?
because you just came back from LA, so you didn't stay.
Yeah,
We miss you,
I
so
just
you
wanted
didn't
to-
stay.
Yeah, how do I end this on a turtle wave cliffhanger?
I mean,
All right,
that
I
was-
gotta-
that was-
so
guess-
Any
Wait.
questions?
So-
I got
Questions?
some questions for Joseph. So this is a 2-part question. So part 1, what do you gotta say to the current people in the DMV area who are doing indie that
Is it just DMV or people who are listening?
okay, people who are listening. I'm
that's
pretty
like-
sure it's probably gonna be mostly people from DMV.
You never
But-
know.
we
I've
never
had
know.
people made up going back to the whole Civil War reference that we made earlier or whatever. I was at Dragon Con. Somebody in freaking near Atlanta, Georgia, recognized me. I was only in one video or that
Okay.
particular.
That
so
video.
there are people out there.
All right, let me
You said in
rephrase.
Georgia?
Yeah, I was at Dragon Con, and this kid comes up to me. I think his, not, I'm sorry, I believe it's Niles. His name is Niles, but he's like, were you in Turtle Wave Civil War or something like
What?
that? And I'm at the artist alley. I'm just like trying to look at all the merch and buy stuff, and I was like, and because I see I think it was his mom or maybe grandma or like because
Wait,
he's-
was he Nerd E Productions?
yeah.
Yeah, he's a big fan of ours. So.
Yeah, shout out to
Hey,
shout out
Nerd
to Niles.
if you are listening, thank you very much.
Yeah.
You
But
made our day.
He came up to me. He was like, I was like, I love your work as like because he watched I think a lot of the Turtle Wave stuff, and then probably some of the Team Red stuff as well. I'm trying to remember. It was a couple of years ago, and it was my first time being in Atlanta. But yeah, there are people out there. I just of all places. Well, actually, I should expect it, but I did. But me, I was like, I'm not the
Yeah.
most prominent one. I'm usually behind camera.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's how I
Any-
feel in LA right now. I'm like the behind the scenes guy.
Yeah.
Like everyone at Jam are always like, oh, Terrell. And always passing through me. I'm like, hey, how's the
Hey,
one
you
who
make him
directed
look good.
that?
Yeah.
But yo, look, for real though.
So for everybody that's listening, Joseph, what would you say to everyone who is an indie filmmaker right now who would like to be in Hollywood? And what will be some warnings that you would give them?
I think it probably pertains to that thing where you got to play the game. I want to know about that.
For me, man, I kind of honestly, let's just be real here. After Shang-Chi, I kind of developed the golden handcuffs. We have this term thrown out a lot in LA for people who work on big high profile projects like Star Wars or like, so they have the golden handcuffs, and then after they come back and try to do their own thing, they feel
Inadequate.
yeah, they feel unable, like, oh, I can't create because I don't have a previous room, I don't have this, I don't have this lighting. It has to look good. It has to be like this.
Oh
And
wow,
so
yeah, I can see that.
You get sedity.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so after Shang-Chi, I developed the golden handcuffs, and just for a while, my work kind of like lost the heart of it. You know, it started becoming about like good technique and proper this and that instead of like recklessly experimenting every weekend, like with you guys, you know. I kind of like crystallized my style in terms of like the anime kung fu stuff. So I really miss like hitting up Alex and being like, hey, let's do a judo thing with Francis this weekend. Next weekend we do taekwondo. Next weekend, oh, I got injured, but that's okay. Let's use the cripple stuff, cripple fight.
I love him.
That was one of my favorites.
So just like after Shang-Chi, I lost the spontaneousness and the experimentation. Like I talked to all the other action designers, like, do you guys feel this way? And they're like, yeah, I feel like I had to see if I can do it again. My own shit. It's very important after like you're working on a job to tell yourself you're not defined by that role. That's why on Instagram, I recently took off the Shang-Chi tag on my profile, you know?
Really?
That's a big move.
Yeah, because like everyone's like, oh, you did Shang-Chi, oh, you did this and that. But like I'm on the next wave. My advice to indie filmmakers, just have fun and follow your heart. You know, definitely develop your own voice. Because at the end of the day, like, we all can do the same shit now with the resources now. Breaking into Hollywood, I don't know. Like, I'm still trying to figure that out. Like, every director I talk to, every stunt performer, they always have their own different way, or the people they know to get into the industry.
Yeah, it's not always everyone follow the exact same path, like verbatim. It's all from different aspects, whether it be from, you know, somebody already in, nepotism,
what do you think?
or
Sorry, Alex, go
couple
ahead.
beginnings and things like that.
What do you think is like the common denominator for everyone who's made it? Like, cause you met all these, you met you know, Gak Attack, you met you know, Chris Cowan, you know, and you. Would you say there was some kind of like common thing that you guys all have, like, would make Hollywood take notice?
I don't know. I guess to make it is like very weighted
Yeah,
question.
I
Well,
think
I know, I
the
mean,
common denominator was that they did everything themselves at
Yeah.
first. And they pushed really hard for like 5 years in order to really break into Hollywood. But honestly, we were all very lucky that Brad Allan scooped us up from YouTube. And not really any other stunt coordinator at that time did something like that. Like, just to give someone from YouTube a chance. He was always that guy because he got scooped up from JC Stunt Team the same way. But instead of YouTube, it was VHS or DVD.
Like
Right,
his
right.
Bushu demos or something?
Yeah.
And practices,
Yeah, the JC Stunt Team, they were given like a stack of like
audition tapes.
audition tapes, and then like they picked one. Andy Cheng showed it to him. It was like Brad Allen's like test fights that he was doing in the backyard.
Back in Australia.
Yeah, with the Instagrammer Way of Chi.
Oh yeah,
That
I love his
dude.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so like Brad Allen got in through these demo tapes. So I don't know, for me, just like mimic what you love. We mimicked what we love, like DBZ, anime, video games, and just like
Star Wars.
yeah, just like going out and shoot and trying to like challenge yourself to learn a new fighting style, collaborating with a non-martial artist, making them look good, collaborating with, you know, just like
Experiment.
yeah, it
And-
becomes a habit of like trying to improve yourself, and then the opportunity I feel like will be naturally bestowed upon you.
There will be a time and moment where they're like, well, you tested it out, so like, wait, I can actually try this.
Yeah, but just like breaking into Hollywood, I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't go out to LA for free, basically, because I was being paid like $700 for this music video, but that $700 was used to pay for my flight and back and
Travel expenses.
getting a rental car and everything. But just making that investment to network with people who are just on the rise. You know, even though I couldn't match up to them, look at their tricking ability, their martial arts ability. Right. But I added to their team my filmmaking, my VFX, and my shooting, and just like also being easy to work with. There's some people for Shang-Chi, they were very talented, but they couldn't match well with the rest of the team. Because you had to channel the Jackie Chan stunt team style with Andy Cheng. You had to channel the wuxia style with Peng Zhang. You had to channel the Marvel comedy with a good sense of humor.
Yeah.
I remember having imposter syndrome in Shang-Chi, and then Brad Allan set me aside. He was like, I don't want you to feel intimidated. He was like, I trust you as an intelligent filmmaker. You know the Marvel comedy more than anyone, more than this guy and this guy. I was like, yes, it's not all about the fighting. I can add to this. So, yeah, networking with
Turtle
people.
Wave.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Oh, man. What we can't hear is this epic music that's playing our
Yeah, this
right
whole
now.
time, Joseph's been telling a story with some epic Shang-Chi music in the background.
And Avatar.
So it's like we can actually add this in post, just get the same feeling that we just got.
Yeah, sorry.
know.
But
it was
the
a
second
good
part of your
flow.
question, what was it?
So the second one was like, what would be some warnings that you would give to people who are trying to make it?
One of the challenges was I actually turned my hobby and passion into an occupation. So it's very dangerous in that you can lose your passion for this hobby or passion that you formed. When that happens, I feel like you need to get another hobby to bring that balance, you know? And I feel like you cannot be super reliant on the people who gives you the opportunities or the gatekeepers. You still have to find your genuine love for the craft in order to become bulletproof in this industry. Like, you still need to do your own thing, establish your own brand. You know, even though I'm in line to do some like Hollywood projects and stuff, I still want to do Team Red content. I still want to do vlogs, experimenting with public speaking. I still want to just like shoot random shit for free, just to experiment, and just having that healthy diet along with like I'm still trying to break into Hollywood. But yeah, I was very gullible my first year in Hollywood. I feel like you shouldn't really idolize your heroes that you meet, because like at the end of the day, everyone's really all in their dreams in Hollywood, and they'll do anything to climb the ladder, even if it means using
Stepping
you.
on some people.
Yeah, using you. And I don't know, I'm still trying to figure out. I do a lot of stuff for free. I still do a lot of favors. I helped some directors with their pitch decks, and then once their movie's in production, they disappear and forget about me. And I use like a whole month's worth of like free work. Yeah.
I have a question. Do you see some of the stuff that you've worked on in their final productions?
Sometimes, yeah. But sorry, this is a really hard topic.
No, I get it. I get it. It's stressful because at home, it's the homies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what I call it at home, right? You know.
Yeah.
But when you're out there, you might want to have a contract ready. You might want to have a system for yourself to be like, hey, I can help out with this, but these are the parameters. Like, setting those boundaries might be really, really important.
Yeah.
You know?
And just exactly like that. And I think last year was definitely a hardship for me because I lost a couple important friendships that helped start my LA journey. And it was all because I'm now trying to become a director, which means to them, I am now not of their use. I had to talk to their manager to talk to them, or like, you know, friend of a friend to reach them, because they're all in on their dreams. Every day they spend has to be towards their dreams. And if I'm busy on my own project, it's like, okay, what's the point of hanging out with you anymore? So I really had to make the distinguishing factor of work associates and friends.
I guess resetting like new boundaries too, right?
Which is why every time I visit the DMV, I'm like, man, like never taking like any close friend for granted, you know? I don't know. I had meetings in LA where this guy's like, hey, you free on Sunday? You want to hang out? I'm like, yeah, sure, man. I've been hella burnt out. I come in to his place and he has like a pitch deck. He's like pitching to me while his like girlfriend gives me like free coffee. I'm like, am I getting hustled? And just like, I wasn't expecting a pitch meeting. And he's like, yeah, I figured you're here. I'm like, dude, like.
That's work.
Yeah. Just like last year, man, I've been hella burnt out, you know.
Yeah, that sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
I would hate to be in your spot.
Yeah. And just like every networking meeting, I had to be like, hello, my name is Joseph Lee. I worked on Shang-Chi and that and that. So I'm just trying to do more than that, not be labeled typecast.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's really hard to find friends in LA. I feel like I need to make friends outside of the industry. Still working on that.
I agree.
It's just a little small segue. My brother's into the music industry right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so he just came out with a new song and he's doing his music thing. Everybody he knows pretty much is related. It's like all his friends, you know, all his networks, all his connections are mostly related towards that industry. And I was just having a conversation with him and I was like, you might need to find some people outside of that who just like you for you, so you can get that other human element outside of it. Because
I agree.
family going to
I
always
agree.
love you, but when you find other friends who are also being like, yeah, excuse my French, I fucks with you too, just because of who you are, and not the thing that you bring into the table. Because I don't need that,
Uh-huh.
you know.
When I go back to the DMV, you know, I always have you guys, but there's also some people I collaborate with who thought like Joseph left us to go to Hollywood. Joseph, after Mulan, the pandemic happened. Now what?
Dude, you
You
don't.
just
don't
in the
owe
middle
them,
of
You don't
everything.
owe them anything. You know, it's like that's the thing.
And like in LA, you know, I like to help people, but when they ask me for a favor, and I'm like, I'm knee deep in my own script. It's based on my personal life and stuff, and they're like, yeah, but are you free on Wednesday? I'm like, damn, dude, like you don't really care at all. And I remember just talking to
Yeah.
a group of performers, like it was December, right? And I was like, what's your New Year plan? And I was like, I want to make stuff about like creative authenticity and be more honest with myself, with my creations. And everyone just looked at each other like, okay, cool. Not like, good for you, Joseph. I really like that. Would love that for you. No, they were always thinking about, is Joseph going to film me? Is Joseph going to make me look good? I don't know. I can get in my own head about this. But yeah, sometimes I just feel really alone because I don't have like my homies, my day ones in LA. And in LA, I made some friends who we were all like, our friendship is beyond filmmaking. And then I don't talk to them anymore. And it's
I'm
hard.
trying to find a word for that. It's like it feels artificial.
Yeah, he's trapped.
Superficial, like
Superficial?
it's like you're just like
I know it's official word.
it's something where it's like it's.
I wouldn't say superficial because it's about the thing that they're passionate about too. I think it's more of just.
But can you imagine? You want to talk about something else. Everyone talks about work.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Honestly.
getting at. It's just like in Hollywood, everyone's just like, how can you help me achieve my dream, and how can I use you for a thing, and all that stuff.
Is it easier said than done when it says like, well, it's like it comes with the territory, but it doesn't have to be like ideally. I think maybe for the way you're saying, it's like I think it could be better, like a better, more positive
Yeah.
attitude about that, I guess.
Which is weird because in the DMV before I moved to LA, when everyone's hanging out at a restaurant or at a bar or something, I'm always talking about, you know, it will be a great video idea. That
Right.
And everyone would be rolled their eyes like, why are you talking about video ideas? We're hanging out. And now, but Alex was always the one who would be like, oh, that's a cool idea. Let's shoot.
Right.
But then like in LA, when people are talking about video ideas at the bar and shit, I'm like, God, shut up.
Wow, so it's kind of
So
like full
how many-
circle with you in a way.
How the
I guess-
tables have
huh.
turned.
Right. I guess my
Yeah.
question is like how
Glad you noticed that. Well, it's a nice eye opener.
It's character development.
Yeah.
how many people that ask these things from you are also doing the things that you've done?
They do it. Yeah, they still do it.
Is it coming more from a thing where they're in a zone where
see.
their passion is their life and that's all they care about? Or is it coming from a position as they see you as a golden goose and they want to see if they can milk something from you?
I think, not to sound egotistical, but golden goose. Because I think people in the East Coast generally are generalists. Like, we know how to shoot, edit, do this, write, act, perform, but we're not like specialists. People in LA, from what I've met in my limited experience, are specialists. Like, I'm a performer to the max.
I
only
agree.
write. But then when they see me come along, they're like, he can do everything for me.
Oh wow.
And then let me, oh, Joseph, Shang-Chi, you're so good. I'll pay for your cream barbecue and then do all this for me. And dude, honestly, I said yes to a lot of things. I just wanted to also like fit in.
Get in, yeah.
But then
that's tough. Yeah.
I remember like Omar Zaki taking me to the side because we're both from Virginia and such.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, Joseph, a lot of people in LA when they move in, they try to fit in, but you need to stand out.
Yeah.
How do you do that? I'm like, damn, how? And then that's when I started making Twisting Tiger, because originally that was a Rush Hour 4 pilot. Yeah, with Lee's son getting involved with Asian gangs, and then Carter's son learning martial arts from his like mom, and then they would meet in the streets of like San Francisco, Chinatown, and then like somehow like they get involved with a crime thing, and then Lee and Carter had to reunite and be like, we have to save our sons, because Lee and Carter were neglectful fathers. Like Lee, always a workaholic,
Right.
never dated in the year of the rat.
Right.
And then Carter was always like, doing his own thing. So,
Oh man.
and then I was like, you know what? Screw fan films. Reanime is already doing a good job. King Vader. I have to stand out. So I'm gonna make my own original
Did you
content.
pitch that?
I pitched it. No, I didn't. Oops.
Bruh.
Okay.
I'm like the biggest Rush Hour. We all love Rush Hour.
Okay, mate. Let's do it.
Hey,
Wait,
anybody listening who
Tim
got
can
this,
play Lee's son.
Look, anybody listening, if you
It's
know
too
the right
late.
people,
Too late
pitch
in
that.
the night for
No
video,
VFX.
video
Pitch that
pitching.
shit. No, I'm
Oh,
straight
wait,
serious.
we're not in LA right now.
We're not doing pitching. We're just
It's not a
learning.
pitch
We're just
session.
listening.
Save it
No,
for the other time.
I'm just saying in general.
It's
like,
gonna breathe new life to the franchise. That's what I'm saying.
find the people you need to and pitch it. If
Okay.
you need me to be a cheerleader, I'll come down with
Okay,
you.
let's go.
I'll have a big old sign. I'll be like, pitch this shit. This is a new badass mother
Yeah.
trucker
If
right
this
here.
gets made, I want this podcast to be the one that sparked the idea.
We heard it.
We
That's
heard it
such a-
here first.
That's
Yeah.
such a beautiful and maybe it's the music in the background playing as we talk about but
Yeah.
that's such a bruh, that's an
It
amazing
comes-
idea.
It comes full circle because I don't think Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker wants to do it again,
Yeah.
and like it's like a new generation.
I think it'd be a
with, like-
good, nice closure for
We're
them.
pulling
Yeah.
a Karate Kid, the Jaden Smith one.
Yeah, I can
Passing the
see.
torch.
I can
Right,
see Jackie
right,
Chan
right.
and Chris Tucker being like mentors or whatever,
Yeah.
like older characters, but you want to move on to a new generation. Seems like what Hollywood's doing right now, anyways, is like
Yeah.
rebooting things.
That would
But,
matter.
like,
I mean, I think what
even in the
Shaft kind of did
MCU.
that.
It'd be hilarious if Lee's son was the playboy,
Yeah.
and then Carter's son was the studious like kung fu
yeah.
nerd.
Good at two
That's
That
shoes.
why
would be
I wanted
that would be
Terrell-
so funny.
I wanted Terrell to play that character.
Carter's son.
Yeah, that's
that
how
would be
he
so
became the
funny.
stoic character in Twisting Tiger.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So yeah, what you didn't know about Twisting Tiger?
Oh
It's like
man,
the-
that should be a
these,
separate
we-
episode of its own.
We had to channel the spirit of Rush Hour, but not copy it. But now
Now
let's
it
do
should
the
be-
pilot,
Yeah,
baby.
You
See,
need-
this is what
you-
happens when you do
look,
this. Like
man.
everybody always has pitches and stuff, but
Yeah.
you don't have to pitch this one. Just keep it in the back, and if ever an opportunity arises, you like. Oh, yeah, I
Hey,
gotta-
you might need to DM me about that so I can.
Okay.
I'm straight serious. That's something I can believe.
I
in.
mean, it's just a tribute to stuff we grew up on,
yeah.
Yeah, we bring the black and the yellow and the yellow and the
The
black.
Oh man!
How many times? If I had to cut that.
all right. We got some last words. We gotta go. It's like we've been talking for like 2 hours now.
Oh,
Actually,
my bad.
It's an hour and a half.
It's an hour and a
Yeah.
half. Oh man, we're getting a lot of episodes.
Sorry.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Nah, this is
Not a
great.
lot of
Tim-
episodes. This
great.
is
Tim and PK hyped me up. Like, I feel like I'm there. So I'm like, okay, I need to keep going.
Nah, man, this is great. I'm loving all this.
I think it's pretty neat that we're able to really because you're really just telling all the details, no filler, essentially, directly to us in person. Like, sure, we may talk about this, but in short spurts over the time. But
Yeah,
to
we
hear it all
never
come
heard
together,
The whole thing in chronological order. Thank you.
I have a
Joseph.
question.
oh my god,
Do you see the landscape, the Hollywood landscape opening up, continuing to open up to more Asians in prominent positions in film?
Yes, definitely. I think there's going to be an action comedy next year starring Jimmy O Yang.
Okay.
ooh,
Yeah, he's going to do some kung fu action from what I've been
Jimmy
hearing from
Oyen
the streets.
is a comedian.
Yeah,
He does
exactly.
kung
For
fu,
those who
or he
don't
does
know.
not do kung fu.
The
Yeah, but,
YouTuber?
he's been...
no,
Well, no.
He's a
Can he
stand-up
actually
comedian.
do
He has his
kung fu?
Netflix special.
yeah, and he was also in Silicon Valley. I think that's when he came to prominence. It's a show.
He was in that one movie with the Christmas movie.
Yeah. with
with the white girl.
With the white girl, yeah.
I actually
Oh,
watched
now
that.
we're
Yeah, we
moving
gotta-
into
This
interracial dating
alludes
now.
to
Let's talk
our
about this.
next
Right, right.
episode. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's coming up. Avatar, Netflix version. So it's just a lot of representation, but also we need to figure out how to talk about representation without talking about it. Because in 20 years or so, like there's representation, but what's also behind that? You know, at the end of the day, we have to have really good storytelling,
Good
and then
content.
just like rely every conversation with only representation. It has to be representation and what. So I feel like I see a lot of up and coming indie filmmakers, and their whole synopsis is like, I diverse, multicultural, this. But then the storyline is the same as another movie with the same plot. So we need.
So you're just adding Asian characters into a story that has no need
Without
for
any
Asian characters.
growth of the movement.
Yeah. So
I
just like
understand
it's
that.
very popular right now for Hollywood to slap on, this race or like this sex, but then they need to do their research, do all the nuances in order to properly like represent and not just slap it on.
That's it's funny you say that, because that's kind of issue I had with the anime Yasuke, where everybody's like, oh man, yeah, the Black Samurai, and like I love that story. I've actually known about the story for decades, and I've always tried to figure out as much as I can about it, but it's really hard because there's not a lot of information. So when the anime finally came out, it just seemed like they slapped a bunch of anime tropes onto a regular behind story, and they added small elements of the history, and then it was just anime tropes with the black guy as a lead,
contrived.
and then it was like, oh man, the black guy, he speaks Japanese. Oh wow, he speaks Japanese. Like, yes, you're in Japan, dude. That's not a like like that series does not withstand the test of time. You know what I mean? Like in the next 5-10 years, like people are gonna look at that and be like, okay, like. And so I was expecting a lot out of that. So I understand you as like, we need to actually not just palette swap things, Cannon Busters was another project. I was like, okay, I liked it. There's a lot of black characters, but like it was just a regular anime with darker skin. So there was not enough contributing to like, what's the black experience in that? You know what I mean? There was the hairstyles. I really liked that. I really appreciated that. But like beyond the character swap, right? What's the African influence?
Yeah.
What's the Black American influence? And so, I definitely see that.
We can talk about this all day.
This for another few
I think
hours.
there needed to be a separate episode of cultural
All right.
appropriation.
So thanks to Joseph Lay for coming in and sharing his story.
Yeah, man.
It was
that
very inspirational, I would say.
Very,
Really?
very insightful.
largely inspirational and insightful.
Yeah.
We got to learn a lot about the experience. I didn't know how, like I knew, we're all connected to each other's experiences respectively, but like seeing the correlations between your experience on a Hollywood Marvel DC set to like the stuff that we do here, just having fun.
Yeah.
That,
And also
like, bridges everything.
Yeah, for sure. Also, sorry, I want to leave with this one other lesson I learned in Shang-Chi. Just because you got the job doesn't mean you can keep it. Like, I saw some stunt performers get the job, and then next week they were fired. Even though they were super talented, but they were just standing there on the sidelines, not doing anything and waiting for orders. And like the higher ups would be discussing like, yeah, that guy was just standing around. Let's fire him. But meanwhile, like a schmuck like me was always finding problems to solve, finding things to storyboards, finding things to shoot. Oh, these two stunt guys are free. Let me just previs a little Nanchuan thing real quick and then show Andy Cheng.
Proactive.
Yeah, proactive. You had to be proactive when you got the job. Don't be like ego inflated just because like, yeah, I signed the contract. No, you always had to keep yourself busy. Keep proving yourself over and over again. Yeah. Same with actors who get roles. Like, don't just like stay in your trailer the whole time. Just still be on set, be present and focus. And you're still auditioning even though you got the role.
I mean, it's a job. You gotta give whatever you can give. So.
Yeah. And also don't dip your pen in company ink.
Oh, okay. There's a lot more.
That's going on to another subject.
We can do another episode or like 3 or 4 on this whole thing. But yeah, we gotta close out because it's 4 a.m. This is usually what we do here at Turtle Wave. We just talk until it's like 5 a.m. in the morning, and then we go to sleep for like 2 hours, and then we wake up and make Afro Saiyan.
This
Did we
is
not sleep that much?
We didn't. That
We didn't
we
sleep
did that one. We didn't sleep at all. It was
I
like,
don't
2
remember.
hours.
Yay.
Let's just say we talked shit about some stuff.
Oh,
for
we
like,
did
for like
for
a few
while
hours,
afterwards.
and then we went to sleep for like 2 hours, and then we woke up.
Oh yeah. Okay, I do
All right.
remember staying up.
Yeah,
Anyways.
okay, we're not gonna get into that.
Anyways,
This is TWDB 152.2 signing off. We'll see you in the next episode.
Total Way Forever.
Throw away forever.
Away forever.
Wakanda. Total Way Forever.
Brothers for life.